The last bit of conspiracy I want to do here before we get into Barstool DVR actually comes from our boy Dante, who wrote a phenomenal blog over the weekend talking about the Georgia Guidestones, which is something I had never heard of. And as an Ancient Aliens viewer and a conspiracy guy, and I love the Loch Ness Monster and Stonehenge and all the fucking secrets, the temples of Malta and all that shit. I can't believe there's one right here in America, right in our backyard. Never even heard of it, but this one's wild. So in Georgia, which is kind of a weird spot, right? Elbert County, Georgia. It is like the granite capital of the country, and I think of like the world. Like there is more granite to be mined and quarried there than like anywhere on Earth. And so in this spot in Elbert County, there are basically an American Stonehenge, which like, how have I never, had you ever heard of that? An American Stonehenge?
Never.
Like
Never.
Gigantic. And I think that Stonehenge is even larger to the point that it's like, it was physically impossible for these things to have been put there. This is noted that it was a construction project and just put there by man. So it's not really about the mystery of how they got there. It's very understood that a very wealthy, secretive man came and commissioned them. But what's interesting about them is how they're set up and what they say. So if you look at a picture of these things, they're these just gigantic, like 6 foot thick, 10 foot tall, huge blocks that are arranged in a way that it's like an astrological clock. You know, the sun shines through a light that points to a shadow to the ground, which tells you what day it is.
It's like the out of Indiana Jones, though.
Yeah, right. Like we've seen these things in pop culture before, but they all have 10 guidelines written on them, and they're written in Hebrew, Swahili, like every language under the sun. And these were like the 10 basically commandments put on these blocks. And when you read them, some of them sound good, some of them sound a little ominous. But 1, maintain humanity under 500 million in perpetual balance with nature. 2,
all right, Thanos.
Yeah, basically, this is Thanos' blocks right here. This is Thanos' Legos. Is basically the Georgia Guidestones. 2, guide reproduction wisely, improving fitness and diversity. Okay, Hitler, that sounds a little fucking pure Aryan nation to me. 3, unite humanity with a living new language. 4, rule passion, faith, tradition, and all things with tempered reason. 5, protect people and nations with fair laws and just courts. 6, let all nations rule internally, resolving external disputes in a world's court. 7, avoid petty laws and useless officials. 8, balance personal rights with social duties. 9, prize truth, beauty, love, seeking harmony with the infinite. And 10, be not a cancer on the earth. Leave room for nature. Leave room for nature. So, like, some of that shit, like, sounds cool. Some of that shit sounds a little ominous to me. And all of that shit sounds like things that people think they have learned over the course of, like, the modern world. Like, here's what's wrong. We're growing too much. We're using too much. We don't give back enough. We don't love each other. We let government take control. All the shit that's like, we lost our way. And so some people think that these were constructed on top of the granite, like where the granite is mined, so that it's like it can withstand hurricanes and earthquakes and destruction, and that these things are so thick and sturdy that they could withstand any type of basically like apocalypse, and that if there was someone to inherit the earth or someone does survive, whether they speak Hebrew, Swahili, Chinese, Mandarin, English, Spanish, whatever, they can find these guidestones and basically rebuild humanity. Well, so the dude who built it, his name, he showed up and said, "Hi, my name is R.C. Christian," which is just like, no, it's fucking not, dude. Like, R.C. Christian, what? Like, I'm the remote control Christian. I'm here to fucking save the world. But he showed up and he wanted to build these. He said, I represent a group of loyal Americans. I want to build this monument. They threw out like a crazy price tag at him, hoping to like dissuade him. He like didn't even flinch. He was like, whatever, bro, I got it. The only catch was that the dude who ran like the granite industry, his name was Wyatt Martin. He was like, you got to tell me who you are. And the guy was like, fine, I'll tell you who I am, but you can't tell anybody else. Which then it's like, well, what's the fucking point, dude? I don't want to know if I can't tell anybody about it. Now it's just a secret I got to deal with. Right. But this guy Wyatt agreed to it. He's still alive to this day.
This guy Wyatt is
RC Christian.
And also Satoshi Nakamoto.
There are thoughts that it was like
where to get the money? Did he pay for it in Bitcoin?
Could very well be. There are thoughts that it's everything from an inside job ranging all the way to it's Ted Turner. He's just like, it's Ted Turner. He's got the fucking there was a couple. He's a media conglomerate creator, a billionaire, philanthropist, lover of nature, nemesis of Rupert Murdoch. His first name is actually Robert, so R.
He's a
Christian. Nearby with CNN in Atlanta. He's a big eugenics proponent. Like, there's some shady shit that Ted Turner's kind of into, some of the bad shit. And he's allegedly
you start thinking beyond like everything.
Yes.
Like, oh, I've got a yacht and I have sex with tons of models. Like what else is there? Immortality.
Right. And there are rumors that he's like in the Freemasons. So, a couple of Nazi undertones, a lot of money, that location could be him. I don't know. This dude Wyatt is still alive to this day. And apparently is just not ever going to speak on who RC Christian is. The word on the street was they always communicated through postcards, and that all of a sudden around 2001, right around September 11th, the postcards just stopped. And so Wyatt believes that RC Christian just died because he just got old. Maybe he died in 9/11. Maybe that's what 9/11 was. Maybe they needed to take out RC Christian.
Gotta get him.
I mean, who fucking knows? But the idea, because of the number one guideline, is a big time population control type of thing that people believe that this is and why it's coming about now is because of coronavirus and overpopulation and the idea that if there was to be some population control that maybe this has something to do with it. Now, the one thing that was pretty funky was there is a inscribed says like on this date open up the time capsule buried beneath this. There's no time capsule. They've all searched around it. And two, there's no date written on the block. So they think that it has yet to begin. And then in 2009, a cube was mysteriously cut out of the block. Nobody knows how it got that way. And then in 2014, the block was put back with the numbers 8, 16, 20, 14, and the initials MM and JAM. So we're on some lost shit right there, where all of a sudden we got a sequence of numbers, and people think that when the population control, when that was the Illuminati or the Freemasons initiating the population control, and that the time capsule will be buried after that. But let me tell you something. If we're going to get it down to 500 million, we got a lot of work to do. We got a lot of fucking work to do.